This is Mr. George, and today we're talking about something that's been quietly changing the whole dating world right now. Something I call the steady man's silent exit. For a long time, there was a certain type of guy who kept getting skipped. Not because he was broken, not because something was wrong with him, but because he wasn't exciting enough, wasn't flashy enough, wasn't the kind of guy who made women's friends go crazy when they saw his photo. He was the guy who showed up when he said he would, paid his bills on time, kept his word, stayed out of drama, built something real and quiet with his life. And women looked at all of that and said, "That's sweet, but I want more than sweet." So they went looking for more. They chased the exciting guy, the high status guy, the guy who made their heart race and their friends jealous. And that steady guy, the reliable one, the one who was always just there, he got pushed to the side. He got the friend zone speech. He got told, "You're such a good guy, but I just don't feel that spark with you." He got used as the emotional support friend while she was out living her life with someone else. He heard that over and over again for years. Not exciting enough, not impressive enough, not enough period. And for a while he believed it. He worked harder on himself. He got better at his job. He stayed in shape. He became exactly what everyone told him women want when they finally get serious and grow up. And then something happened that nobody saw coming. Women grew up. They got serious. And they came back looking for him. The problem is, by the time they came looking, he had already figured something out. He figured out he was never the problem, and he stopped being available. So, today we're going into exactly why this is happening. Why the steady, average guy, the one who got looked past for years, is now the most wanted man in the room. What changed in how women think about what they actually need. And why these same men are looking at all this new attention and saying, "No thank you, stay with me." Because this is going to hit close to home for a lot of people watching. Whether you're a man who lived through this or a woman who is wondering right now why the stable guys she wants don't seem to want her back. First, let's make sure we're talking about the same guy. Because when I say average man, I don't mean a man with nothing going for him. Average here means where he stood in the dating world based on how men were being judged for the past 20 or 30 years. This guy makes decent money, probably somewhere between $60,000 and $100,000 a year, depending on where he lives. He's not broke. He takes care of himself just fine. He's got some savings put away. He's good with money. But he's not driving anything flashy. He's not posting travel pictures every other week. He's not the guy a woman talks about at dinner because of what he does for a living. He looks normal, average height, somewhere around 5'9" to 6 foot. He takes care of his body. He's not overweight, but he's not in the gym 6 days a week either. He just looks like a regular solid guy. At work, he might be in a trade. Could be in management somewhere, maybe owns a small business or works a solid, steady job. He works hard. People around him respect him, but he's not a doctor, not a lawyer, not a CEO, not the kind of job title that makes a woman's eyes go wide at a party. But here's where this man is actually different from most. He is steady. Not steady like dull, steady like you can count on him no matter what. He doesn't explode over small things. He doesn't start problems out of nowhere. He says he'll do something and then he does it. He shows up. He follows through. His life doesn't have drama chasing him around. No enemies. No messy situations. Everything around him is calm because he keeps it that way. That is the average man. And for years, that man got told that none of that was enough. Women wanted the steady part and the exciting part and the impressive part and the tall part all in the same package. The average man was the backup, the guy she'd come back to once the fun options didn't work out. So, what was she chasing instead? That matters because you can't understand where things went wrong without understanding what women were running toward. The high status man was always at the top. The doctor, the executive, the guy with the big title and the income that could change someone's whole lifestyle. Women wanted those men badly. They competed for them, and those men knew it. They had so many women interested that most of them never felt much pressure to settle down with just one. They kept things casual, moved on when something younger came along. Didn't have to try very hard to keep anyone around because someone new was always close by. Then there was the guy who just looked exceptional, the very tall one, the one who turned heads when he walked into a room. These men also had so many options that character and reliability became optional for them. Their looks did all the heavy lifting, so they never had to develop much else. And then there was the exciting one, the guy with the edge, the unpredictable one, the one who kept things intense and emotional and never quite settled. Women got hooked on how those men made them feel. Even when the relationship was exhausting and going nowhere, the chaos felt like passion. The not knowing felt like excitement. And the average man sat there watching all of this happen, getting told he needed to be more like those men, more bold, more exciting, more dominant. The message he kept getting was clear. The way you are right now is not enough. Change yourself or get used to being alone. So what changed? Why is that same guy the most wanted man in the room now? The first big shift is that the women who spent their 20s chasing exciting and high-status men are now in their mid-30s and 40s. And what they want has changed. Not because they suddenly got wise, but because their situation is completely different. Now, they don't want excitement anymore. They've had excitement. Excitement didn't keep the lights on, didn't build a home, didn't show up when things got hard, didn't make them feel safe at night. Now they want steady. They want reliable. They want a man who actually commits and stays. And the man who always had all of those things? That was the average man they kept passing by. The second shift is that the exciting men mostly didn't commit. Women spent real years going after these men. Some of them actually got them for a while. But men with that many options going after them don't usually lock things down with one woman. They kept things loose, moved on to someone younger when things got heavy. So women who gave real time and real energy to those men ended up with no solid relationship to show for it. They got the thrill. They didn't get the life they thought was coming. And now older, with the clock getting louder, they realize they need to go after something completely different. The third shift is that the high-value men who do commit have mostly already done it. A lot of them got married years ago. Or they're out here now dating women who are significantly younger because they can do that. A man who's doing well at 50 has real options with women in their 30s. He doesn't need to date women his own age who spent years looking past men like him. So women in their late 30s and 40s who try to go after those high-status men find the door mostly shut, either already taken or simply not interested in them at this point. The fourth shift is just supply and demand, and it's simple. Good, steady men used to feel like they were everywhere. Now they're genuinely hard to find. A lot of the solid average men got married years ago. Some have completely stepped away from dating. Some are dating younger women now. The ones still in the dating pool have way more value than they ever had before. And they know it. Women who shift their focus to finding a stable, reliable man find out fast that there aren't nearly as many left as they expected. The fifth shift is that women are now actually feeling what their choices cost them. Years spent chasing men who didn't commit means getting to your late 30s with no real partnership. The pressure of the biological clock getting very real. Fewer options than you had before. And the sudden honest awareness that the approach that worked when you were young is not working. And that hits hard. And it pushes women toward the steady average man they used to walk right past without a second look. So now women are going after the average man. They're showing interest in the stable guy. They've adjusted what they're looking for. They think this is the natural ending to the story. Woman realizes what she actually needed all along. Goes after the right kind of man, everything works out. Except that is not what is happening. Because by the time women turned their attention to average men, those men had already spent a long time doing their own thinking. And what they worked out changed everything. The first thing they worked out is they know exactly what this interest actually is. They are not confused about why a woman who walked past them at 28 is suddenly very interested at 38. They can see the math clearly. They know they are not her first choice. They know they are the plan that became the main plan only after the original plan fell apart. They know that if the exciting high-status man she chased for years suddenly showed up and wanted her back, she would probably go. Average men are not naive. They understand what being settled for feels like even when nobody comes out and says it. And they don't want it. Then nobody wants to be chosen because better options ran out. Nobody wants to be the guy she picks when she can't get who she actually wanted. That is not love. That is just making do. The second thing they worked out is what they actually saw happen right in front of them. A lot of these men had front row seats to how women treated other men during those years. They watched from the friend zone. They watched from the outside. They saw women give their best energy, their real excitement, their full attention, their most attractive years to men who treated them carelessly, men who didn't show up, men who were fun and unreliable and didn't care that much. And now, those same women are coming to the average guy asking him to commit to them after all of that. After they're older. After they've been worn down by a string of relationships that went nowhere. after they've dragged all that history and hurt with them into something new. And the average man looks at that and thinks exactly what any honest person would think. Not you gave your best to men who didn't value you. Now you want me to take what's left. Why would I do that? The third thing they worked out is how bad the actual deal is. Even beyond the backup plan situation, what's actually being offered to average men right now is a bad deal when you look at it honestly. Women today want a man to provide like it's decades ago, but want the relationship to run like a modern equal partnership. He should earn well, pay for things, be financially strong and carry more of the load. But also, everything should be split 50-50. No traditional roles, no real say in how things are run. So, the average man is supposed to carry most of the financial weight, while getting back almost none of what the provider role used to come with. All the responsibility, none of the respect, all the work, none of the appreciation. He looks at that arrangement and says, "This doesn't work for me. I'm being asked to give everything a man used to give and get back a fraction of what a man used to get. That's not a deal. That's just being taken advantage of." The fourth thing they worked out is how good life already is, without all of that. A lot of average men, especially the ones in their 40s, found something they didn't expect to find. Single life is really good, like genuinely peaceful in a way they didn't know was possible when they were younger and desperate for a relationship. They wake up and the whole day is theirs. They decide how to spend their money, their time, their weekends. No drama anywhere. No one to keep performing for. No emotional storms to manage. No constant work to keep someone satisfied with them. They work. Why shouldn't they spend time with people they actually like? They do things they care about. And then they look at their friends who are in relationships and they see what those men are dealing with every single day. And they think, I already have something better than that. I am not trading this piece in for something that looks worse from every angle I can see. The fifth thing they worked out is the actual cost of what's being offered. Average men, a lot of whom are practical, straight-thinking guys by nature, looked at modern relationships and did the real math, what it actually costs. Give up control over your money, your time, your space, your whole daily life. Do emotional work constantly. Manage her feelings on top of your own. Keep performing well enough to keep her satisfied with you forever. On risk losing half of everything you built in a divorce she can walk away from at any time. Possibly lose regular time with your kids. What do you get back? Some company, some closeness that the numbers say fades pretty fast after the first year or two. Shared bills that don't actually make up for what you're putting in. The math is bad. The costs are guaranteed and permanent. The benefits are uncertain and go down over time. Staying single is the smarter move and they know it. The sixth thing they worked out is that they actually have real options now. Steady average men who are employed, healthy, calm, and have their lives together have found out something that surprised them. Younger women are genuinely interested in them. A grounded man in his mid-40s is actually attractive to a woman in her early 30s who has already been through the exciting guys and wants something real. His value with younger women is honestly higher than with women his age who spent years saying no to men exactly like him. So, he's not choosing between the women who passed him over and being alone. He has other paths. Date younger women who appreciate what he brings right from the start. Or stay single and keep the peace. Either way, he's not desperate. And a man who isn't desperate does not have to take bad deals just to avoid being lonely. The seventh thing they worked out is the most important one: self-respect. After years of being told he wasn't enough, the average man finally stopped believing it. He figured out that the whole system that made him feel like he wasn't enough was built to make him keep chasing and competing and trying to prove himself. He was never actually not enough. He was always enough. The things that make him who he is, his reliability, his steadiness, his consistency, his quiet strength, those were always real. Women just weren't looking for those things when they were young. They were looking for exciting and impressive and physically dominant, and he didn't score high by those measurements. But that was never about his real worth. That was about what was being measured. And now that he knows that, now that he's truly good with who he is and what he built, he is not about to let someone's sudden change of mind take all of that away from him. He's not going to be the backup after years of being looked past. That's not him being bitter. That's just a man who finally knows what he's worth and refuses to accept less. So what is the woman on the other side of all this actually going through right now? Because it matters to see it from both sides. The first thing a lot of women are feeling is straight up confusion. They did what they were supposed to do. They grew up. They stopped chasing the exciting, unavailable man. They started looking for steady and reliable. They're being realistic now. And the men who should be glad to have their attention are saying no. The men who were supposed to be grateful are turning them down. This doesn't make sense to them because the story was supposed to go differently. Lower your standards. Find a good, solid man. Good, solid man says yes. That story is not playing out. The second thing they're going through is real rejection. For a lot of women, this might be the first actual rejection they've felt as an adult. Through their 20s and into their 30s, they were the ones choosing. Men came after them. They had the power. Now they're reaching out and getting turned down. Getting not interested, getting ghosted by men they honestly assumed would say yes immediately. And it hurts in a particular way because it's coming from men they thought were below them. Men they would have said no to without thinking twice 10 years ago. And now those same men are the ones saying no to them. The third thing is resentment. Some women don't sit with that rejection and think about it. They get angry. Who does he think he is? I'm offering him something and he has the nerve to say no. He should be happy anyone wants him. That attitude shows something important. Deep down, there's a belief that average men owe them acceptance. That men who weren't in high demand don't get to have real standards when a woman comes around. Average men hear that attitude and it proves exactly why they made the choice they made. The fourth thing is blame. Articles come out. Posts get shared. Why are men so difficult now? Why won't average men step up and be real partners? Why are average men so afraid to commit? It's always men failing. Men being the problem. Men needing to fix something. Never an honest question of maybe these men have real reasons for saying no. Never the possibility that the deal on the table is genuinely not worth taking. Always the men. The fifth thing is that women eventually adjust or accept the situation. Some lower what they're looking for even further. Some stay single rather than settle for men they don't feel anything for. Some keep going until they find an average man who is still willing. But the best ones, the truly steady, grounded men who have their lives running well and their peace fully intact, those men are becoming harder and harder to find. They've made their choice, and those spots are not opening back up. What we're watching right now is the market fixing itself. After a long time where average men's real value got pushed down by culture and social media and impossible moving standards, reality is doing what it always does. It's catching up. Most women actually cannot get a long-term commitment from the top 10 or 20% of men. Those men have too many options and no real pressure to lock things down. Most women need stability way more than they need excitement, especially as they get older and things get real. Average men are genuinely rare and valuable now, especially since so many have left the dating world completely, and average men have figured out their own worth and decided they're not playing the backup role anymore. The correction is happening right now, and it's hard for people who built their whole plan on the old version.